Did the defense look improved this year?
It did in the spring, but now that Camp's come along, I think the offense is kind of tight. Is kind of putting the tempo. They're up tempo, and the guys they're putting a little more pressure on them. But like I said, that CJ Gardner absence today, you can see it, but I think they'll be better. I think they'll be a better group. You look at the revamped secondary, then you look at the additions on the defensive line, the guys that's coming back. I think they're going to be better. The one spot for me that I kind of like is a linebacker position. That's the one they're going to really have to prove it to me on the field that they're a better group this year than they were last year.
Detroit Lions talk with John Kapler. # will there be a better defensive tackle to draft next year in the first to replace Levi? ... Yes. What do you think, Ant-Man?
I mean, that's a very bold prediction. Who knows who's in the draft? We don't know what the tackles are going to be in the draft next year. So, no, we don't know that. That's just, saying it for the sake of trying to make an argument against Levi. I don't get why people knock him so much. I mean, people year after year want Julian Okwara on this team, who's always injured. There were people who wanted Hand back when he was here, always injured. And yet Levi now seems to be the guy that everybody picks on. But all these other favorites, oh no, they don't want to get rid of those. No one wants Julian gone. Well, what the hell does he bring to this team? Nothing. Absolutely nothing compared to what all the other guys at his position do. Why Levi? Let's just stop having a go. Let's see what he can do this season. And if it doesn't work, it doesn't work and go for next year's draft. But let's just stop with this trying to put him down and give him excuses to just get rid of him now.
I call him Levi Onwuzurike Hand. That's what I did before the injury. In love to Deshaun Hand.
You're stupid. That's funny.
Lisa says, # Lions. I heard Dan Campbell talking about Cabinda being healthy and talking like Cabinda as he makes the 53. What do you think about that, Dan?
I think it's a real possibility, especially since we like to run the ball so much, especially in short yardage goal line. But, he also plays special teams and does pretty well on it. So the more you can do, the more value you have. Obviously, with any team, let alone this team, where the coaching staff and the front office value players that have versatility all over the board.
I mean, what do you take him as? That's the interesting thing for me. Do you take him as a running back, as a tight end? What do you classify him as to give him a spot on the 53? I think that is because they're trying him a lot at tight end at the minute, aren't they? I don't know whether you've seen out there, Kurt, but I know in spring they were practicing him a lot at tight end. So are they going to take him as a tight end?
I think they're going to leave him at kind of like that H-back, fullback type of guy where he can play both roles. The guy he can make plays. I mean, I like him I like him as a blocker, down the goal line as well. You don't have now. I like Montgomery, but I like that fact where you can go in the I formation. We don't have Williams. That's more of that, that can just like play single back on the goal line. I like the fact that you can put Cabinda in, and he's that good blocker down on the goal line. So I do like the fact that I like Cabinda on this roster for that purpose of that, kind of grinded out down in the red zone, down in the goal line area.
What do you think about Cabinda, Dan? Do you actually think he makes this roster?
Man, with the amount of talent we now have, especially at a lot of positions, it's going to be tough. But the only reason why I say he probably will is because what we'd like to do in short yardage, you got to have some options there. And the fact that he can play special teams, and you have faith that when he's out there, he's able to do whatever, and you don't have to worry about him. Somebody's got to play on special teams. Somebody's got to be your gunners, your blockers, etc. He does it very well, and he fits the mold of what they like to do on offense in certain situations. There's very few people that fit his description on that team.
The one thing
he's a psycho too.
Yeah. I mean, don't forget, he's played linebacker in college, if I'm not mistaken. So he's got versatility to be emergency in a lot of different spots. We talked about, tight end, H-back, special teams, real big emergency. Could he play some backup backer? And that's kind of what you want if somebody who's just on the cusp of making a team. How many more spots do you now save making questionable decisions at because this one person can do so much?
One thing I could say about Jace Cabinda is he's got the craziest eyes of all time. If you watch that Hard Knocks episode, I was looking for that picture to bring it up. I really wanted to get it, and I could not get it. That's why I asked Dan another question, because I was looking and looking and looking. I'm like, please find his eyes on here so you can see it. Those eyes can stare through your soul. Those eyes can stare through your family history. That's how those eyes are. And so for sure, if he makes the team, at least we can look at those eyes. If you got any questions, put it in the comment section with hashtag Lions, hashtag whatever. We got Alan Dayton here, hashtag LNU. How many tight ends do we keep? I'll go with 3. What do you think, Kurt?
3. I agree.
What do you got, Dan?
3. Cabinda might be one of them, though.
What about you, Ant-Man?
I don't know. I genuinely think we take 4. You've got Mitchell and Laporta. You can't leave Wright out, but then you've got other guys as well. I think they take 4.
4. What about Shane Zylstra? Kurt?
He'll be practice squad this year. Either he won't be in Detroit or he'll be practice. And I watched him firsthand down in Carolina. You know, when the Lions came down here for that Christmas Eve game. He had a really good game, but it was, you know, it was kind of the next man up type of deal. But if you look at the guys that are pretty much in front of him on the depth chart, with Laporta and Mitchell and Wright, I don't see it where they keep the 4th guy is going to be Cabinda. It's not going to be Zylstra.
Cam Sutton, how has he looked? He's looked really good, knocking down passes. He's did phenomenal so far in training camp. I have not heard what he did today, but the first 2 practices, he's looked really, really well and advertised. And I think that's huge for the Lions secondaries. He's our number 1 corner, so he's living up the potential. What do you think about Cam Sutton there, Ant-Man?
Oh, yeah, he's going to be so pivotal to this team. I mean, we've gone through these last few years, we've gone through an entire laundry list of past it has been cornerbacks who cost us a ton of money, but he is a veteran who arguably has his best football to come yet. You know, he's done really well in Pittsburgh for the most part. I know he's had his growing pains and that, but I think he's going to be a cornerstone of this secondary. And we need cornerstones in this secondary. You know, the guy who you can trust with wide receiver ones, the guy who you can trust with the important assignments. He's going to be that guy. And he's absolutely needed because the secondary's just been so bad for us for years now. He's going to be great, you know, in terms of veteran experience for all the young guys in there, them learning off him. You know, he's another one. I don't talk about him very often, but it's just like he's there now, and I'm glad that he's there, and I'm looking forward to seeing him play for us. I mean, because you know he's got a lot to prove to Pittsburgh as well. It's like, well, you know, you're going to let me go. I'm going to go ball out for these guys instead. But he's vital for this defense.
Detroit Lions Talk with John Kapler says, hashtag, what would you rank our D-line? I heard a super fan on Dose of Dion's channel scream and shout our D-line is top 5. Realistic, I say 24th. Where do you rank our defensive line 1 through 32, Mr. Dan?
You know, I'm going to go somewhere like middle of the pack, you know, 16 through maybe 20. And we've got some real good pieces, especially on the edge. To me, it comes down to more about the middle of that interior. I think McNeil's going to have a breakout year, but who's going to be next to him and the depth there? That's where I feel like we still have a legitimate hole on this team.
I see Mr. Ant-Man with a big old smile on his face. Where do you rank the Lions' defensive line?
Not 24th. We are legitimately 7 deep at edge. You know, you have a mix of veterans, great emerging young talent, you know, superstars in there. You know, so that alone is going to put you up into the teens. And everyone rags on the DT group, but McNeil's a starter there. You know, he's going to be one of the better DTs in the NFC North here. And then you've got a really solid rotation around him. Bugs, you know, got Covington if he gets in there. You've got Broderick who's going to be in there to be a run stuffer. You've got Benito Jones in there. You've got the right amount. You've got the right sort of rotation next to a bona fide starter in there, and you are loaded at edge. So you're at least up in the teens. I'd say like mid-table at the minute. And if they develop how they should develop, it will be a top 10 unit. It's not there yet, but it's closer to being so than further away from it.
Smile. Kurt, go ahead.
Shout out to my man, Michael Banks. That's the guy he was talking about, the Lions super fan. And he just had his Ford Hall of Fans. It's like the last few weeks of his what do you call that? Enshrinement display is up in Canton, Ohio. So the guy he's a really super fan. Michael Banks is my guy. So shout out to him. But he does get a little excited. Top 5, no. I would say the teens as well. But I love my man Michael Banks. Shout out to him, man. He's part of our LNU family, man. But shout out to my man Mike Banks, man. He's a good dude. Craig
says, is Kerby going to be a starter? I'll give that one to Kurt again.
Absolutely.
Yep.
Like he proved that last year. I mean, you look at the guys they walk off this roster, they're like, yeah, you can go. Because Dan Campbell's already talked about this, and so has Aaron Glenn. They're kind of moving Gardner Johnson to that more of a slot type or rover type position where he plays that role. And is going to be Kerby Joseph back there with Tracy Walker at the safety position.
Mims or Green to start? Dan, the man.
Let's go with I think Mims. I just think he's already got veteran experience. He's got incredible speed and size. I just think in a win now situation, which this team is, you're going to take somebody who's got those little bit of edges here and there. I mean, not that Green can't control his own destiny, but if I had to bet, I'm going to go with Mims right now, big time.
I'm going to go with Mims right now. I think it just makes a lot of sense. If he continues what he did yesterday, it's hard to say he's not going to make the roster there, Ant-Man.
Who, sorry?
Mims or Green?
I mean, I'm always a proponent of developing your draft talent, but it just depends how they do. I think it's going to come down to the preseason games for those, I reckon. It's going to be very tightly contested because you need your outside receiver. That's what Antoine Green's going to be. That's what Mims will be for us. So, I mean, I've not seen enough. I'm not writing off Antoine Green yet because he's not taken a snap for the Lions. And likewise, Mims has done nothing for the Jets. So I'm going to go in with an open mind to this. I'm going to wait and see what they do at camp. I'm going to wait and see what they do at preseason and then make my decision. It's hard to tell right now.